Every time you enter the digital world, something asks a simple question. Who are you? Your bank asks it. Your email asks it. Your employer asks it. Online stores ask it. Cloud platforms ask it. And increasingly, entire digital societies ask it. For decades, we answered with passwords, a string of characters proving that we were allowed to enter. But the internet has changed. Our digital lives are no longer built around a handful of websites. One identity can now connect dozens, sometimes hundreds of services. And as that network expands, identity becomes more than a login. It becomes infrastructure. Because before a system can give you access, it needs a way to recognize you.
The password solved a simple problem. It gave a system a way to recognize someone who knew a secret. For a small internet, that was enough. One account, one website, one password. But scale changes everything. More accounts create more credentials. More credentials create more opportunities for mistakes. People forget passwords, reuse them, lose them, share them. Attackers try to steal them. Companies spend enormous resources protecting them. The password was never designed to become the foundation of a civilization-sized digital environment. Yet that is exactly what happened. We built layer after layer of digital services and placed an increasingly fragile secret at the center of them.
Now, consider what identity actually does. It does not simply open a door. It connects a person to permissions, to accounts, to money, to information, to reputation, to services. Identity tells a system what belongs to you, what you can access, what you are allowed to do, and sometimes what you are trusted to do. That makes identity fundamentally different from a password. A password is a secret. Identity is a relationship between a person and an entire network of systems. And as digital life expands, that relationship becomes increasingly valuable. The internet once asked, "Can you prove that you know the password?" The emerging internet is asking a deeper question. Can the system establish that you are actually you? Security used to have a clear boundary, a building, a corporate network, a protected server. Inside was trusted, outside was dangerous. But the modern digital environment broke that model. Employees work from different locations. Applications live in the cloud. Customers access services from personal devices. Data moves across networks. Software connects to other software. The perimeter is no longer a wall around a building. It is increasingly the identity of the person, device, application, or service requesting access. This changes the architecture of security. The question is no longer simply, are you inside the network? It becomes, who are you? What are you requesting? And should you be allowed to do it right now? Every digital transaction contains a small act of trust. A bank trusts that the person requesting access is legitimate. A company trusts that an employee is authorized. A platform trusts that an account belongs to the person controlling it. A customer trusts that a transaction is being processed correctly. At human scale, trust is personal. At internet scale, trust must become computational. Systems need rules for deciding who can enter, who can transact, who can modify information, and who can be trusted with sensitive resources. Identity therefore becomes part of the machinery of trust. And once trust becomes infrastructure, the architecture surrounding identity becomes economically important. And whenever a system becomes essential, an economy forms around it. Identity creates demand for authentication. Authentication creates demand for security. Security creates demand for verification, access management, fraud prevention, privacy, compliance, and infrastructure. Businesses need to know who is accessing their systems. Financial institutions need stronger ways to verify customers. Digital platforms need to distinguish legitimate users from malicious activity. Enterprises need to control access across increasingly complex environments. This creates an entire economic layer beneath the services people actually see. The customer may see a login screen. Behind that screen is an industry built around proving, protecting, and managing identity. But identity creates a difficult trade-off. The more a system knows about you, the easier it can become to verify you. But the more information connected to an identity, the more valuable that identity becomes. Security wants certainty. Privacy wants restraint. Convenience wants less friction. Businesses want reliable access. Users want control. These goals do not always point in the same direction, and that tension may become one of the defining questions of digital society. How much identity should a system require? How much information should it retain? Who should control it? And what happens when one identity becomes connected to too many parts of someone's life? Now imagine the next stage. One identity connecting many systems. Not because every system becomes identical, but because identity becomes the layer that allows them to recognize the same person. That could make digital experiences dramatically easier. Fewer credentials, less friction, faster verification, more seamless access. But it also creates concentration. If identity becomes the bridge between many systems, the identity layer itself becomes strategically important. The power is no longer only in the applications, it can move underneath them, into the infrastructure that decides who gets access. This is the pattern Nexera keeps returning to. The visible product attracts attention. The invisible layer creates dependency.
This is where identity becomes a question of power. Whoever controls a critical identity layer does not necessarily control the people behind it, but the architecture can influence access. It can determine how trust is established, how credentials are recognized, how permissions are granted, how transactions are verified. That makes identity infrastructure strategically important. Not because identity should become centralized in one place, but because every digital economy needs a reliable way to establish trust. The more valuable the assets behind the doors become, the more important the key becomes. And the future of digital power may depend less on who owns the doors and more on who defines the rules for opening them. The password was designed to prove that you knew a secret. But the digital world is becoming too complex for that simple idea to carry everything. Identity is becoming a deeper layer, a way for systems to recognize people, devices, businesses, permissions, and relationships. And as digital society expands, that layer may become as important as the networks carrying the data themselves. The future of identity will not simply be about logging in faster. It will be about creating trust at scale. The challenge is making that trust secure without making identity a cage. Because the more of our lives move online, the more valuable our digital identity becomes. And that leads to the question beneath everything else. If your identity becomes the key to your digital life, who should control the key? Because the future may not be defined by the systems you can access. It may be defined by the system that decides who you are allowed to become inside them.
Digital identity is becoming more than authentication. It is becoming an infrastructure layer connecting people to trust, access, commerce, and digital society. And whenever an invisible layer becomes essential to everything above it, that layer becomes part of the architecture of power. Nexera. Decoding systems. Architecting wealth.